Welcome back to the 2020 Toronto Blue Jays sim, playing with Out of the Park Baseball 21. I'm JayBlue of Blue Jays from Away and author of the 2020 Toronto Blue Jays Minor League Handbook. We're going to jump right in here. We're at Monday, April 27th. I know the date on the game says May 4th. We've already done the sim. We have some really exciting developments in today's episode, so we're going to start right from the top and take a look at what the Blue Jays did in this sim. We're 17-17, so we had a rough go of it. Going back to April 27th, we split a three-game, or we lost 2 games of 3 to the Boston Red Sox, and then we were swept by the New York Yankees in 6 games over the week, so a 1-5 record. Our one win came last Monday with the Blue Jays getting a 9-5 win against the Boston Red Sox. We had a good game from Vladdy Guerrero, who hit a home run, going 2 for 3 with 4 RBI and a couple walks. Teoscar Hernandez was 3 for 3 with a double and a couple of RBI. We've been keeping an eye on Mr. Hernandez because he's hitting just 212, and that's even after a 3 for 3 game. So we're keeping an eye on him. Him and Cavan Biggio are the 2 guys on the team who are really offensively struggling at the moment. On the mound, Chase Anderson had a solid start. He gave up 4 runs, but only 2 of them were earned, 2 home runs. So this team is giving up a ton of home runs. Went 6 1/3 innings, so that's a solid start, 6 strikeouts. Anthony Kay had another strong outing, going 2 innings, 1 unearned run, 4 strikeouts. Jordan Romano hitting a walk, couple base runners over that 1/3 of an inning, and Ken Giles had his 10th save. Moving on to the next game, we lost to the Boston Red Sox. Those Red Sox are, I think, going to be a thorn in our side all year. So we lost 8-2. Got just 1 hit from the club, Randall Grichuk with a home run. On the mound, Trent Thornton gave up 5 runs in 4 2/3. Gavilio a run. Anthony Kay an unearned run. Yamaguchi gave up a run, but no home run this time, thankfully, and he struck out 3 in 2 innings. And Wilmer Font finished the game with a scoreless inning. And in our third game to the Red Sox, the closer of the series, we had another big loss, 8-1. Cavan Biggio hit a home run, maybe breaking out of his funk a little bit. And Gurriel was 2 for 4. Danny Jansen 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. The story here, Hyun-Jin Ryu was on the mound. He gave up another 5 runs in 5 2/3 innings. Still got a 3.5 ERA for the season, but that was not his best outing, and it just wasn't a great game for the Blue Jays altogether. We're going to move on to May and playing the New York Yankees. We had an off day on the Thursday, but against the Yankees on May 1st, we took an 8-2 loss, so we seem to be giving up 8 runs an awful lot. In this game, 7 hits, 2 from Reese McGuire, including a double. Rowdy Tellez hit his 9th home run. That's leading the team. Tanner Roark, 5 runs, 3 2/3 innings, 2 home runs in that game. Ken Giles had one of his only kind of blow-ups so far this year, giving up 3 runs, giving up a home run, 2 hits and a walk. Anthony Kay with 3 innings of 1-hit ball, 5 strikeouts. So for us, that's the player of the game. I know, he's not the player of the game for the game, but for the Blue Jays, he definitely was the most effective player in that game. An 8-3 loss came after that. Matt Shoemaker with another rough outing. He's had really one good outing this year. Gave up 6 runs in 5 1/3. His ERA is back up over 10. Sam Gavilio with a run on a solo home run, and Shun Yamaguchi giving up, surprise, surprise, another home run. But his ERA is down under 6 now, so that's, positive, I guess. Randall Grichuk had a 2 for 4 game, Brandon Drury 3 for 4, and Bo Bichette was 2 for 4. No home runs on that day. On May 3rd, our final game of this week and the final game of the series, we lost 4-0 with just 4 hits as a club. Vladdy Guerrero, Lourdes Gurriel, Randall Grichuk, and Danny Jansen each with a hit. Gurriel and Jansen adding a walk each. Chase Anderson, 3 2/3, was chased out of this game. 5 hits, 4 home runs, 4 strikeouts, but 3 home runs. Anthony Kay gave up a run, striking out the side, though, in 1 inning. Shun Yamaguchi, 1 2/3 scoreless, and 2 walks and a hit. Got the ERA now down to 5.48. Chase Anderson was injured in this game, and we've got that diagnosis pending. So it was a rough week for the Jays. We've got some things to resolve. We're going to take a look at the minors, and we're going to come back to some of these issues. These issues include, do we cut Matt Shoemaker or send him down? Are we going to... what are we going to do with Chase Anderson? He's got that diagnosis pending, and the injury list for pitchers is back to 15 days, I think. It was 10 days last year in 2019, but I think Major League Baseball for pitchers moved it back to 15 games. I think teams were taking advantage of the 10 game, just put a guy on the IL for, give him a rest for a start, basically. And then bring him back without, really losing much. It's almost like giving him a rest. So Chase Anderson injury, what are we going to do with him? And what are we going to do with Teoscar Hernandez? He was up to about 212, but that's actually not going to be a problem because he was injured. So I didn't show you that. I should have, of course. Teoscar was injured, I think, fairly early in the week, and we did bring up... let's go find that. We did bring up Billy McKinney to take his spot. He's only gotten into 1 game, and I do need to go in and move these guys around. So McKinney is now going to be our right fielder on an everyday basis. Derek Fisher is going to play a lot, so I'm actually doing that, and we're going to move Fisher into the everyday spot, and McKinney's going to be our backup. We'll bring him here to back up left and to back up right field. And so that's our major issue with the Blue Jays. So we have a few guys, and we're trying to decide what to do. Sam Gaviglio is also another guy we've got to figure out what to do. So let's take a look at the Buffalo Bisons. They had a mixed week. I think they played 7 games. They won 3 of them, facing the Durham Bulls, who are the AAA club of the Tampa Bay Rays, and they also faced Louisville, who are the AAA club of the Cincinnati Reds. On the first game, we took a 7-3 loss. We had Mitch Walding hit a home run, Ruben Tejada hit a home run, Andy Burns was 2 for 4. We got the start from Julian Merriweather, who gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts. Connor Fisk was 2 2/3, gave up a hit. Zach Jackson, 2 runs. The next game I want to show you is, I think we had Ryan Barucki on the mound on April 28th. He was injured. I think that was a minor injury. He took his regular spot in the rotation, but he came out of that game with an injury. Thomas Pannone picked up the win, 3 runs, despite his 3 runs in 1 1/3. Philippe Aumont had a strong outing. AJ Cole, strong outing. And Justin Miller. The next game for the Buffalo Bisons, a 6-3 loss. McKinney was 2 for 4 with a double, and I think that was his last game in Buffalo before he got called up because of the injury. And Sean Reed-Foley had a nice outing, 6 inning pitch, 1 hit, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts, whereas AJ Cole took the loss. In the 3-1 win against Durham, TJ Zoik had a nice outing, gave up a home run for the only run he allowed. Jake Petrichka also had a nice outing. Anthony Alford 1 for 4 with a double, and didn't get much offensively in that game. The 1-0 win versus Louisville. Here's a big game I'm going to show you. We got a no-hitter from Nate Pearson. Pearson went out there and just dominated, striking out 8, and his only batter to reach base, here he is. He's got 9 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts. The only batter to reach base was a hit batsman, and that came in the Where are we here? The 5th inning. I think it was in the 6th or 7th. But it was a pretty impressive outing, all told. He was phenomenal, and I think we're going to just have to make room for him in the Major League team. Here we go. He hit a batter in the 4th inning, and it ended up being Alex Blandino. So Nate Pearson just went out and dominated the Louisville Bats. Not a bad team. I mean, they're 12-10, so it's not like he was dominating a really poor team. So he's got a 1.23 ERA so far. And I pretty much made up my mind he's coming up, whether it is for Chase Anderson's spot or we're going to do something with Matt Shoemaker. The other 2 games this week for the Bisons, couple losses. Again, nothing much really happening on the offensive side. Merriweather had another sort of mediocre game. He did strike out 8 in 6 innings and had 3 runs in the game on May 2nd. And finally, on the game on May 3rd, Kivlahan had a solid game. He went 2 for 3 with 2 home runs and a walk, 4 RBI, so that's a nice outing there for Kivlahan. And Ryan Baracki returned to action. He wasn't injured, but he only lasted 2 innings, 6 runs, 4 of them earned. And Thomas Pannone, who has really been up and down, he's had some really rough outings here. He went 5 innings in relief, 1 hit, 6 strikeouts, so an outstanding game for Pannone. But as you can see from this ERA of 5.68, he really has been very inconsistent. He's had some great outings, and he's had some rather poor ones. For the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, we're going to head down to New Hampshire, the beautiful state, and Manchester is where they play. And the Fisher Cats really did not have a great week. They are not off to a good start. But they did win 2 out of 3 against the Hartford Yard Goats. First game, a 3-1 loss, not much offense there. Josh Palacios was 2 for 3 with a walk. On the 28th, in that 3-2 win, we had Thomas Hatch with a strong start coming off the IL. Hatch went 5 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Joey Murray has been moved into a relief role, and he hasn't been the best. He had 2 innings, gave up a home run, 3 strikeouts. Offensively, Kevin Vicuña continues to hit 2 for 4. Josh Palacios 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. In the game April 29th, they won 2-0. Patrick Murphy with a strong outing on the mound. Murphy gave up no runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts to pick up the win and do most of the work in that shutout that the Fisher Cats got as a team. Ryan Noda, interesting. He walked 4 times, going 0 for 0 with a run and a stolen base. And also offensively, Kevin Smith 2 for 3, and Mac James was 2 for 3. If you want to know more about Mac James, the Jays signed him in the offseason, and that may be why his name is not very familiar. But we did have an interview with him on our Blue Jays From Away podcast, so you can check that out. BlueJaysFromAway.com. Find out more about Mac James. The New Hampshire Fisher Cats were off on April 30th, and then they faced the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, the Mets AA affiliate, on May 1st, losing 4-3. Logan Warmoth didn't do very much. I was looking at May 2nd. We'll get there. Noda was 2 for 3 with 2 walks, so that's like 6 walks in the past 2 games. Alejandro Kirk 2 for 3 with a home run and a double and a couple of walks. Cullen Large was 2 for 4. Elvis Luciano in that game gave up 1 run, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. So that's one of the rare good outings for Elvis Luciano. He's struggled as well this year, but he may just be getting used to that AA competition level. And so here on May the 2nd, we had a 2-1 win over the Rumble Ponies in 12 innings. And the walk-off was from Logan Warmoth, who was 1 for 5. Ryan Noda walked 3 more times. That's right. Noda has a whopping .412 on base percentage, and he's only hitting 174. So remember when I said that if he had a 230 batting average, that on base percentage was going to be insane. Well, that's kind of happening. The batting average is climbing, but his on base percentage is now over 400. Andrew Sopko was on the mound in that game. 2 hits, 1 walk. Beautiful start for Andrew Sopko. 9 strikeouts. I think I mentioned in the last episode, Sopko started 2019 in AA and was very, very good. He just really lost it when he got to AAA and was hammered by the opponents in the International League. May 3rd, Fisher Cats got the start from Hector Perez and gave up 1 hit, but he walked 5 guys, and this has always been Perez's issue, is just walking a ton of guys. Joey Murray, again in a relief role, 2 2/3 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned, 1 home run. So he, again, is not really showing that he's comfortable with that bullpen role. Batting-wise, 1 for 4 from Noda. Colin Large, again, not much in the way of offense. We lost that game 4-1 to the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. Let's take a look at the Dunedin Blue Jays. Down to Advanced A in the Florida State League. They were off on the Monday and were swept in 3 games to the Lakeland Flying Tigers, the Detroit Tigers affiliate in that league. First game, Samad Taylor, he's 2 for 4, and he's going to show us a lot this sim. He's really coming into his own after a rough year in his first year, I think at age 20 last year, so I think he's 21 now. Samad Taylor, acquired by the Blue Jays, I think in the trade for Joe Smith that also brought Thomas Pannone. So he's now 21. He's really turning things on. At the moment, he's got a .273 batting average. Pitching staff in this game, again, not phenomenal. Creefenfrock hit hard, 11 hits in 3 2/3 innings, and Jackson Reese wasn't the best either. 3 runs and 1 1/3. His ERA is up to 9th, while Justin Maesi continues his comeback. 1 hit in 3 innings, 2 strikeouts. April 29th, a 3-2 loss. Simeon Woods Richardson gave up 3 runs in 5 2/3 innings, 6 strikeouts, while Samad Taylor hit a home run and didn't get a lot of hits for the whole club at all in that one. On the next game, on April 30th, Alec Manoah was on the mound, and as you can see, we lost 10-4. Manoah gave up 6 of those runs in just 1 2/3 innings. And then Samad Taylor, home run and a double, showing himself to be hotter than flames. Griffin Conine, a couple hits as well. So Samad Taylor is really kind of carrying the offense right now for the Dunedin Blue Jays. Finally picked up a win against Clearwater, the Phillies Advanced A affiliate. Josh Winkowski with another solid start, going 4 1/3, 1 run, no earned, 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Troy Watson gave up a run. Marcus Reyes pitched to 1 batter, gave up a hit. Turner Larkins, 2 innings pitched, 1 run, and Sean Weimer with his 7th save. He's been a machine out of the bullpen. Offensively, Samad Taylor with another home run. And against the Clearwater Threshers, this was sort of one of the most unique games we had. In addition to the no-hitter, we had an 18-inning loss to the Clearwater Threshers. The Threshers walking it off in 18. We had 8 at-bats for Chavez Young. That was a lot of at-bats. Otto Lopez with a couple of hits. Griffin Conine with a couple of hits, including a home run. Nick Podkul, 3 hits. On the mound, Graham Spraker was very good in a starting role, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Maesi gave up a couple of runs, blown save for Brad Wilson. Weimer, 2 scoreless innings. And then the parade began. Mike Ellenbest, Marcus Reyes, 2/3 of an inning. Willie Ortiz with 4 scoreless innings. Nick Allgaier gave up 2 hits and a walk without getting anyone out. And Connor Law gave up the final runs, taking the loss. So we saw a whole bunch of pitchers pitching. And finally, we had a 12-1 loss on the last day of the week on May 3rd. Again, not a pretty game. Creefenfrock, 6 hits, 5 runs, 2 earned. Jackson Reese gave up a run. Sean Rakowski gave up 6 runs, 2 were earned, and Emerson Jimenez barely getting any time on the mound. Otto Lopez, a couple hits. Singles from Moreno and Clemens and Conine, and that was it. Not really a positive week in many respects, except for Samad Taylor, really, for the Dunedin Blue Jays. We're moving to Lansing and those Lugnuts. And the Lugnuts opened their week with a 2-1 series lead against the Kane County Cougars. And in the first game, LJ Talley hit a home run in that 6-2 loss. Hunter Steinmetz was 2-4. And decent start. We got a good start from Juan Nunez, going 5 innings, no runs, 6 strikeouts. Troy Miller, Grayson Huffman, Donnie Sellers, Josh Hyatt followed. Hyatt was hit pretty hard. Hyatt gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, including a home run. And there is Hyatt there for his rough outing. They won 3-2 in the next game with Alex Nolan, the good Canadian boy. Nolan, 5 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, so he's showing himself to be pretty solid. Kobe Johnson was injured when pitching. He's going to be gone for 6 weeks. Nolan was our player of the game. We had a whole parade of pitchers. Johnson came out after that 1 inning of work. Donnie Sellers, Grayson Huffman, Troy Miller, Andy Ravel, and Josh Hyatt. 5-1 win the next game against the Kane County Cougars. And we had a good start from another Canadian. It's like the Canadians are going off for the Lugnuts. Will McCaffer, BC boy, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. So that's 2 9-strikeout games in a row from Canadian pitchers. Grant Townsend finally gets into the game. Welcome to the Lugnuts, Grant. He wanted to be in the game. He got a hold of me and said, hey, man, how come I'm not getting any love here? So we brought him up to the Lugnuts, and what did he do? 1 2/3 innings, no runs. Great job there for Grant Townsend picking up the win. So Grayson Huffman got 1/3 of an inning, and Parker Karachi finished the game off. Home run from Cameron Eden. Will Robertson hit a double. Jesus Lopez was 1 for 4 with a triple and 2 RBI. And going into May, we were facing the Quad City Bandits. And this is a nice sort of homestand against some of the Western Division teams. With that win, they got a good start from Adam Kloffenstein. I don't know why I call him Andy. Adam Kloffenstein, 1 run, 3 hits, 4 walks. The walks are a little bit concerning, 4 strikeouts. Andy Ravel, 2 runs. Parker Karachi finished it off. Will Robertson with a solo home run. And we go to 6-4 win over Quad City. Those River Bandits. Juan Nunez, another solid start. Nunez is going to start the next game. Sorry, in this one we had DeCesare with a decent start. 4 2/3, 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Nick Fraze got the win. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, just a home run, and 4 strikeouts in 3 innings. Donnie Sellers, 1/3 of an inning, and Josh Hyatt got the save, but did give up a run. Offensively, not a lot's happened. Jordan Groshan's here, 1 for 4. He's been struggling, and Jesus Lopez has not. He's got a 3 for 4 game. DJ Neal, 2 for 3. With 2 RBI and a walk. So very solid game there from DJ Neal. He's off to a really strong start after a rough start in 2019. Juan Nunez, as I mentioned, he was pitching in this 3-1 win. 5 1/3 scoreless innings. He's brought his ERA down to 2.22. 5 strikeouts in those 5 1/3 innings. Troy Miller, 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 hits, 1 walk. Grayson Huffman, 2/3 of an inning. And Andy Ravel, 1 run in 1 inning, but he still got that save. Cameron Eden, also another 2 hits. He's off to a solid start, hitting .329 already. And Gregory Contreras, home run number 4, 2 RBI from him. He went 1 for 4. And that concludes our summary. Now we're going to get into, talking about some of our storylines. And one of the big ones was, we're going to sort of start from the bottom, and we've got so many pitchers. we go to our pitching list. We have 22 pitchers here for the Lansing Lugnuts. And it's unfortunate, but it is Judgment Day. So we're going to have to let some of these guys go. Really, we're looking at guys who are not getting into games. And so we're just going to bring up their pitching stats. And guys who aren't getting into games that we're just going to have to let go. And some of these decisions were people who were actually released by the Blue Jays before the season would have started. But, if you look at some of these guys, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts for Troy Miller. Unfortunately, it's sad to see him go. I've talked to Troy, but, Troy Miller, Joey Polito, who was actually released by the Jays, Matt Shannon was actually released, and Andy Ravel. Andy Ravel's getting older. He's struggling with the Lansing Lugnuts. Again, does not reflect on what I think of these guys in real life, but I'm just going by what the game is saying about them. And these 4 guys they're in the game, they're just not going to get it done. I mean, Ravel's 25 and he's in A-ball. So that's going to clear up some room for guys like Hobie Harris and Grayson Huffman, Andy McGuire, Mitch McCown, and Quinones haven't even pitched yet. Neither is Fitz Stadler. So hopefully we're going to get some open innings for these guys now. We still have a lot of pitchers. We still have 18. And at some point we may cut it down even further. I'm sort of being a little conservative just to give some room in case we get some injuries. We can still have more guys, clear out some room for other pitchers to get some more innings. But that's going to be it. We're going to go down to 18 pitchers for the Lansing Lugnuts. The Dunedin Blue Jays, guy who was actually released by the Jays was William Willett. He's only pitched an inning and a third. Again, 22 pitchers on the Dunedin Blue Jays. Emerson Jimenez has not been pitching much, and he's been getting hit hard. Nick Allgaier, and this is a tough one. I really liked seeing Nick Allgaier pitch in person, and he was a strong starter for the Dunedin Blue Jays. But, if you look at his stats in the game, I mean, his ratings, they're just, he's not really going to go anywhere. And so, yeah, it's a deep breath I take. I'm not crazy about this idea. And Willie Ortiz is the other guy that I'm just going to have to say that's, we need to make room. And so 4 guys, unfortunately, for the Dunedin Blue Jays. Some other guys we're going to see get some more rope, I think, is going to be Connor Law, Mike Allenbest. Both of them are struggling, but Allenbest's 2 walks to 8 strikeouts is pretty solid. Maverick Bufo has been getting hit hard. Again, we think there's a little more potential for his part. Braden Bushy's a guy who hasn't gotten much. He's another Canadian guy from Vancouver. Not a ton of potential in the game for Bushy. Bushy's had some interesting things. He's actually injured in real life. He had Tommy John. He told me that he was out at Driveline Baseball last year, and he went to Driveline, added some velocity. I think he was up to about 98 miles an hour by the time he came back, and then he was pitching in extended spring training, and he was he blew out his UCL. So he's gone in real life because of an injury, as opposed to pitching just randomly as a bunch of 18 players on a pitching staff. So we're going to take a look here at the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Really, we have 17 guys, so it's not as much of a crush. We're going to let Vinny Natoli go. He's walked 5 and struck out 3 in 4 innings. So we're going to let him go. He was a guy the Blue Jays signed as a minor league free agent last year and re-signed him to that same minor league deal in the offseason. Now, up in Buffalo, we're going to take a different kind of tack. We're going to say there are a few guys, Justin Miller, they haven't been bad. I mean, actually, I'm not going to let yeah, we're going to let a few guys go who are, maybe could help the major league team, but we still have so many guys and so many of our homegrown guys who can really help the major league team. And again, these guys are not pitching badly at all. Moran, Miller, and AJ Cole. We're going to rationalize this by saying, you know what, they maybe have out clauses in their contracts. And so we're going to release them to sign with other teams if they can. That's going to cut down Buffalo to 16 pitchers. And again, that's a lot of pitchers. But now we have something else to do. We have to go to the Toronto Blue Jays, and we have to figure out what we're going to do with certain guys. And Anderson is out. I think, he's actually been pretty strong in terms of his strikeout to walk ratio. 6 walks, 39 strikeouts. But we're going to put him on the injured list sort of preemptively. He's on there for 15 days. That is going to give our good friend Nate Pearson the opportunity to pitch in the major leagues. That was our biggest thing, and that's going to save Matt Shoemaker for the time being. Shoemaker has really been kind of terrible. I mean, the walk to strikeout ratio is not bad, but he's given up 15 home runs in 31 innings. That's just like almost unheard of. That's 4.4 in 9 innings. I mean, at this rate, he's going to lead the major leagues and probably set all kinds of records that you haven't seen since guys threw 300 innings in a season. He may shatter those records. So Shoemaker is definitely still on the block, but he's going to be saved for at least another week by the call-up of Nate Pearson. What I will do is I'm going to move Anthony Kay into the starting rotation, and he's going to take Matt Shoemaker's spot. And so what's happening here, and Pearson's going to go into the number 4 spot, and what I think that's going to do is hopefully help these guys and take a pitcher who's actually pretty hot, and he is coming in and in relief of some of these guys who are struggling. Sam Gaviglio, his ERA is at 7.71. I'm going to send him to Buffalo, and I'm going to bring up TJ Zoik. It's either Zoik or Petrichka. And Petrichka, the strikeout rate is actually incredible. It's, there. And you know what? We're going to go with Petrichka. I do want a reliever. I may have to clear somebody off the 40-man roster. So that may be the tricky thing. We're going to go rosters 25 to 26 on active, but our 40-man is full. So we have to clear somebody off the 40-man, which actually means I'm not ready to do that just yet. There are a couple of candidates. Wagaspak could get a nice DFA for him. He's still in the minors. Thomas Pannone, maybe. Gaviglio could in the long run. There are a couple of guys. Hector Perez as well could be designated for assignment. I'm not ready to do that just yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bring up TJ Zoik, since we would have to clear off a roster spot. So TJ Zoik comes up to Toronto. We're going to go here. Let's see what happens. So Thomas Pannone and Philippe Ilmont take those 2 free spots in the starting rotation in Buffalo. Probably going to clear up a little bit more time for guys like Connor Fisk, Taylor Saucedo, and James Dykstra, as well as Wagaspak. And then we come up to Toronto, and here we have our rotation. Zoik is going to be a long relief guy. He can also be an emergency starting pitcher. Matt Shoemaker is going to be a long relief guy and emergency starter. And so that is our major league team. There's a couple of guys. I think I'm going to make a move here. I'm going to go to New Hampshire, and Curtis Taylor has been really, really good. I want to bring him up to Buffalo. So our closer, he's going to move up to Buffalo. That again cuts the number of pitchers down from the Fisher Cats by 1. We do have another pitcher here in Buffalo. Now the question is, do we move Elvis Luciano down? I'm going to give him another couple of weeks to see, but those walk rates are pretty high for him. 12 walks in just 17 and 2/3 innings, but he is striking out, almost one per inning. So he's kind of on the block in terms of a demotion. Down in New Hampshire, that's New Hampshire. We want to go to Dunedin. Down in Dunedin, we have a couple of guys. Wilson and Larkins could move up. And Rakowski, Buffo, and Manoa are all kind of candidates to be moved down. So we're going to keep an eye on these guys and see what happens. Finally, the Lansing Lugnuts, Juan Nunez has been doing really well, so is Alex Nolan, Will McCaffer as well. So we have a lot of interesting guys here. Josh Hyatt has been hit and miss, but he's got 6 saves. And we'll just do this and get the pitching rotation all optimized to Luis Hurtado's his taste. Offensively here, Yorman Rodriguez off to a good start since we've been getting him some more action. 364, 417, 455. Jordan Groshans has not been hitting well. He's sort of gone into a funk. Cameron Eden has been outstanding. He's got a 957 OPS. And Hunter Steinmetz, that outfield is really producing. DJ Neal, solid so far. He's got a 90 OPS plus, so he's a little bit below average. Jesus Lopez could get a promotion. He's probably the guy who's got the most potential. He's had like 3 years at the A-ball level. Beloit here, when he was with the Oakland A's organization, that's an A-ball team in the same league as the Lansing Lugnuts. So he's had, parts of a few years at that level already. He's 23. So if anybody's getting a promotion, it may be him. Tanner Morris, first year at the level, solid. Will Robertson, solid, showing some power lately. Our home run leader for the Lugnuts is Gregory Contreras. And for the Dunedin Blue Jays, we have a couple of guys struggling still. Gabriel Moreno. Christopher Beck has been struggling with the bat. He's stealing bases when he gets on, but struggling with the bat. Samad Taylor is hot. He's got a 145 OPS plus. Very nice to see. Chavez Young is cooling off a little bit. He's got a 99 OPS plus now. Reggie Pruitt also cooling off, and his average has sort of sunk to 218. Griffin Conine, again, putting up some solid numbers. Just 2 home runs for the guy so far. Last year, he led the Midwest League in home runs. 293, 353, and a 467. Very respectable slash line all around. New Hampshire Fisher Cats are really struggling to put up any offense. Alejandro Kirk has really sort of fallen to a 213, 263, 480. Good ISO, 4 home runs, 6 doubles, but he definitely needs to get on more. It doesn't strike out a ton, which is great to see. Ryan Noda, 28 walks, 30 strikeouts. Wow, this guy, he's got just 2 extra base hits, but he's getting on so much, a 412 OBP. Cullen Large, decent OBP, but he doesn't have an extra base hit. Logan Warmoth, a 53 OPS plus. Kevin Smith is at 85. His average is at 218, and he struck out 23 times. That's about 25%. But he is showing signs of putting the bat on the ball with some power. Palacios is sinking again a little bit to 82 OPS plus. Kevin Vicuña, he's dropped off. He's down to 293. But some decent power. I mean, it's all doubles and a triple. But some decent power from Vicuña. He's got 40 right now for the gap power. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs. He's a very thin guy. He doesn't generate a lot of power. Brock Lundquist is really struggling. Demi Ormaloy is really struggling. Basically, the outfield is no one in there is really into positives in the OPS plus. So a really, really weak offense in New Hampshire. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of guys ready to come up from Dunedin to really help them out. So these guys are just going to have to do it on their own. And for the Buffalo Bisons, we've got Anthony Alford with a 12 OPS plus. He's really struggling. Jonathan Davis, solid production, 114 OPS plus. Ruben Tejada giving us league average production. Santiago Espinal, again, I think he's come down a little bit, and he's not doing a lot power-wise, just 6 doubles. Andy Burns, he's got 3 home runs, but 225, 250 are his batting average in OBP. Mitch Walding, producing nicely, 4 home runs, 4 doubles. And Patrick Kivlahan, basically leading the team with 5 home runs. He's off to an outstanding start, 145 OPS plus. He actually led the team in home runs last year. So that's our game, our week. We had a rough week for the Blue Jays, had a great week for our good friend Nate Pearson, and Nate Pearson's coming up to the major leagues. We're going to have Nate's major league debut next sim, so stick with us, everybody. Come on back, give a like and a subscribe to the channel. Thanks to GM Games for having us. This is JayBlue of Blue Jays from Away signing off, and see you back soon.